Hey guys, it's Carl. So happy 2024, kicking off the new year always with a new desk setup vid. I find it just helps start a clean slate. So whatever you do behind a computer, hopefully this gives you some inspiration. And if you're new to the channel, I've been in this spot now, like my filming studio, for close to like 4 years. I'm currently in the process of building a new house. I'll show some B-roll. Lots of delays. I was planning to be there at the beginning of this year. That won't now happen till probably mid 2024. So still in the current studio spot. This is the clean desk slate, and let's get into all the items. So first off, the desk. This needs no introduction. I've had it for 4 years. It's actually a hack. It's a dining table from a company called Rove Concepts. Typically makes like furniture a bit higher end compared to IKEA, but I love the overall space. It fits the theme. If you can kind of see the aesthetic of my studio here, it's very like white, minimal with like light wood. So that's like the light oak finish. It has these really funky legs. Like I said, it's a dining table, probably too large for most people, but seeing the stuff that I do in the content space, I always have tech gadgets surrounding the table. So I love the extra, I'll say, real estate for the size. If you're looking for something a bit more budget, the classic YouTuber hack, it's the 2 IKEA Alex drawers with the kitchen countertop over top. I've had that here in this space. I still have it in my studio. You have the benefit of having the Alex drawers for actual storage. Both are awesome. Once again, the IKEA stuff is just a bit more budget friendly. To the actual desk gut. So I'm actually working with a company that makes these specific accessories. This is from Balolo. They're based out of Germany in Cologne. They make some really great desk accessories called the desk setup cockpits. And they really tailor towards what you need for your setup. And they come in these beautiful finishes of wood, either walnut or what I have, like the light oak finish, which once again fits into my theme. I've got their main monitor riser, and you can see it's quite modular, as underneath they have different bolt sections which you can add on specifics for kind of, like I said, what you need. I also have their laptop sleeve or laptop holder. In there I slot in my 14-inch MacBook Pro M3 Max, which I'll talk about in a second. I also have their speaker risers, or technically monitor risers. That's what these speakers are called. They're the Yamaha HS7s, which is probably the oldest part of my setup. I've had them for close to 10 years. Mostly aesthetic, since I typically rock my AirPods Max, but I feel like it fits the overall white theme of the vid slash desk setup, so they look great if I do want to rock them. And also just this handy little pen holder to keep some of my extra peripherals. Like I said, Balolo makes some really great stuff, very modular, and you can pick out specific things for what fits your needs. I know they have all these little attachments that kind of go on this main desk riser, but you can kind of mix and match to your will. Some solid, really good looking stuff, and it really ties in the entire theme. And I love the finish of this nice wood. It's a premium, it looks good, and I'm a firm believer if your workspace looks good, I think productivity kind of tends to follow you, set yourself up for success. So like I mentioned, the main guts, the M3 MacBook Pro, the 14-inch M3 Max. My hot take on it, it's my first time switching to a 14-inch form factor in a couple years. I used to have like the M2 Max MacBook Pro that was 16-inch, same thing with my M1. I love the 14-inch form factor since, you know, I travel a lot. It's easier for me to carry around on a plane, in my backpack, but sometimes I miss the screen real estate, but that's why I have this big guy right here. So this is my Pro Display XDR. In my desk setup, I was really pushing hard to just have the one cable solution because my cable management typically is hot garbage. And for the B-roll of this video, I probably have this kind of turned around just to show off. Typically it is facing me though, and I am facing towards my studio, so just kind of keep that in mind. The Pro Display XDR is absolutely gorgeous. It performs beautifully as it should. Would I recommend it to most people? Probably not. It is so expensive. Apple also makes their studio displays. You know, this piece of aluminum here for the stand is like $1,000 on its own. It's overkill. I'm just lucky that Apple sent it. Hence, I'm using it. It's beautiful. I feel like it's a piece of art with all this milled aluminum on the back. I will probably never let it go. But like I said, not worth the money for what you're paying. What I do love though, like I mentioned, is that cable management. Only one power cable that runs off of the floor, USB-C from the MacBook Pro to the back of the screen, and some of the extra peripherals to charge, say, my smartphone, or even say this little new ring, which I have. I'll talk about that in a second. All can be powered from the actual Pro Display XDR, which I'm a big fan of. I've worked really hard here to keep cables off of the floor, and one other little hack, so I don't have to live the dongle life, because this is the MacBook Pro. Even though it's the smaller 14-inch, it still has that SD card slot. So when I use it, it's typically facing towards me, and I can just kind of plug and play my content from my camera, which is the next kind of piece of the video, which lives on my desk riser. So obviously right now I'm recording with my Sony a7S IIIs. I have 3 of those in the studio, but for some more portrait shots, I am trying to carry this around with me all the time. I just made like my daily EDC video for 2024. This is the A7CR. It's essentially an A7R5 in a smaller form factor or smaller body. I love it for portrait photography. I'm rocking the 18mm Batis just to keep things nice and compact. It shoots in 4K, S-Log, S-Cinetone, all the great features that the more expensive A7S IIIs, the A7R5s do, just in this compact body. And I love that two-tone finish with the silver and the black. For my main keyboard and mouse combo, this is kind of a pairing that I've gone with for a couple years as well. This is the Keychron K2. Once again, a very budget wireless keyboard. I love it because it's mechanical. It's a lot more efficient to type on this than say my MacBook Pro keyboard. I love the travel. It's completely wireless, once again, to remove any wires from the setup. And it has this lovely orange button, which if you can't tell, orange is my color of choice. So I love that little tie-in. For my mouse, it's the Logitech MX Master 3S for Mac. Once again, pairs to my MacBook Pro. It's perfect, it's ergonomic. If you're sitting behind a desk for 5-6 hours a day, some key things that I typically recommend: upgrade your mouse, upgrade your chair, just for that comfort. It makes a world of difference, especially if you're spending hours and hours behind a computer. So those 2 options, $100 each, cheap. I mentioned for sound that I typically rock my AirPods Max. Since in the studio here, I typically have my videographer, editor, Nick, with me. So just to have these on to listen to whatever is on my screen, so the sound isn't kind of blaring. These are custom painted from Colorware. They are in this nice glossy orange. Once again, that orange is my like kind of theme of my color. It's like my accent color. And I think Apple should be releasing their new AirPods Max sometime this year. So if you are planning on buying them, I would say hold off. They'll probably upgrade the port to USB-C. Over on here, I do have my gaming controller. So I got this sweet little wood thing from Xbox. They sent it over with my gamer tag. So I typically have a controller in my super limited time. I know that Macs aren't made for gaming, but you can pair an Xbox controller to it. There are some half decent games on Apple Arcade. They aren't AAA titles, but as an example, you can play Baldur's Gate 3 now on Mac, which I think is pretty impressive, but it still has some work to do to match a PC. Obviously, it's nowhere near what Steam has, or the games that you can play on PC. Like, I wish I could play Hogwarts Legacy. I wish I could play Call of Duty, but still limited, getting better. Apple needs some work in gaming, but it's making some decent strides. So next, the only other 2 plugins on this desk setup. The first one is just for my phone. So this is from Nomad. It's like their smart charging stand. I typically am on my 15 Pro Max as like my daily driver or my daily device. I think this is great. It's made out of black aluminum. It's nice and hefty. It has that, once again, premium feel to it. And typically my iPhone is my second screen. So when I kind of turn the phone sideways, it goes into that night mode or sleep mode, where you can see all the different notifications, or say like calendar, clock, or when I am kind of cheating, taking a bit of a break from working, I'm watching Premier League or some sort of like soccer highlights off to the side. The last plugin is this little ring charger. So at Christmas last year, I got this little smart ring from Ultrahuman. I typically don't wear smartwatches. I'm not like an Apple Watch user, so I wanted something to still track my sleep sleep mostly, and I guess like heart rate steps. These little smart rings, just similar to the Aura ring, has been kind of a game changer for me. It's great to monitor and track all the things. It comes in a couple different finishes, so I've got one in matte black as well as silver, and when I do need to charge it, I can just kind of slip it off my finger when I'm working, and within like an hour it's fully charged and I can continue wearing it. Great little smart activity tracker, and you don't have to rock a Apple Watch or a smartwatch, which in my opinion do look a bit ugly. I'm a fan of like mechanical watches, so that's why this has been super handy. And I would say the last component functionality wise of any desk setup, like I said, maybe one of the most important is the chair. This is kind of my Herman Miller M-Body. I've had this once again for almost 9 years, I think, and it is expensive. It was expensive, but when you are investing in a premium piece, especially something like a chair, you sit in this thing for like 7 to 8 hours. It affects like your overall like back health, how well you can move. I'm always a fan of spending the money like where it counts, where you actually need it. It's held up great. I'm bringing it to my new studio. It obviously probably needs a clean, but it's been a game changer. Like I used to sit in one of those cheap IKEA chairs, even like 10 years ago, when I was a lot younger of a guy. I could feel like lower back pain from sitting in that thing for like 2 hours. I highly recommend this. There are some cheaper options. I know like budget mid-level chairs have gotten a lot better, but this has held up the test of time. Probably needs a bit of a clean, but super important if you are sitting behind a desk. And last but not least, I would say the last thing for any desk setup is what makes it kind of like unique, little desk buddies. And that adds a bit of like flavor and I'd say flair. It like brings a smile to my face every time I see like my little orange Porsche, which you see kind of like off to the side there. It's a hint of orange. It makes my desk setup kind of unique. Same thing with my silver Bulbasaur, which I think it's just like a $10 Funko Pop. It matches the theme. It matches my Pro Display XDR, and I think Bulbasaur is the greatest Pokemon of all time. Same thing with my Star Wars Lego off to the side. I'm a huge collector of Star Wars Lego, car Lego, which I have my Porsche Turbo on the side there, and that is pretty much my desk setup for 2024. Everything will be listed down below. I kind of went through everything pretty quickly, but in kind of high level terms, I keep my space minimal. If I can keep this space like clean in like working order, it makes my workflow, it makes my productivity a lot better. And it's a place where I am, proud to work in, where I enjoy sitting for a lot of the day. A lot of the stuff that you see behind the scenes in the studio or in the channel is spent here. And if I can keep my workspace aesthetically pleasing, I tend to be a happier person throughout the day. So hopefully this brought you some inspiration. Like I mentioned, everything will be listed down below. Definitely check out Balolo for their desk setup accessories. I think it really completes the look, and I can't wait to bring this into my new studio, which will have a similar theme / look. If there's any recommendations, also help me out, and I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next vids. Peace!